Boom! What's up? It's Dominic D'Angelo. Studio1sports.com, podcast, Heat Wrestling. It's Rumor and Innuendo. Notice I didn't say ad-free shows because guess what? Ad-free shows is no more. It's actually, I think it's called Pro Wrestling Classics or no, Matt Classics, something Classics. Dang it. I should have looked it up beforehand. Damn it, Dom. But no longer on there. But we are still on Podcast Heat. We are on my channel now, studio1sports.com. That's right, studio1sports.com. Check it out. Go to there and really support that out. Help me out big time by going there and subscribing and liking that channel. Every day, you're going to see me and Robert on here. Well, you're not going to see Robert here today. He's got a work meeting. You get me, Dom D'Angelo. That's right. Pro wrestling journalist, dirt sheet writer, co-host of Rob Van Dam, one of a kind with RVD. And I'm coming at you live with the usual people in the chat. So happy to be here. Kami Star, fellow Pittsburgher, says after morning all. Devin Dowling says, Ayo. Dre Owens, hello, RNI. I'm here to hear Robert sing. I'm so excited after Brody earned his title shot. You will not be hearing Robert sing, at least today. Maybe tomorrow we can get him to sing something, huh? Travis Wardlow, welcome to the program. Hello, gents and dames. Ooh, I like it. That's very Tony Storm-esque. And Devin Dowling also says, how about that old cuck idiot Jimmy Cordarius? Wow. Yeah, we got to talk about that. Devin, I saw your X post where you tagged me, so we'll talk about that here a little bit today. Robert slacking again, I know. What a bum. What a bum Robert is. And Devin Dowling says, AFC is done. Well, just rebranded. You know, I should have looked up what the heck it's called now. It's a cool little logo and aesthetic they got going on. Makes a little bit more sense. I think the whole structure of how we all consume content is changing. Paywalls are a little up in the air, but it's still a part of the game. And it's just a different kind of landscape when ad-free shows was around. Let me think about this. When if you guys consider it, ad-free shows launched during COVID. So what were people doing at that time? In their house. And it seemed like an appropriate kind of aspect. People tuning into podcasts, listening, some video content too, obviously at that time as well. And what way to kind of get incentive is to have a program like that, a platform like that, where you pay and you become a member and you watch this content behind a paywall and you're part of a community. It was what a special time it was. I mean, I mentioned yesterday how cool it was to be a part of that, the burgeoning and the very early embers of AEW, and cover that for WrestleZone. Well, at the same time, too, ad-free shows coming to life with what Conrad did and everything really elevated the game, too. And at that time, too, AEW and ad-free shows kind of formed a little bit of a relationship. And honestly, it's what got Tony Schiavone back in the business, was his program, What Happened When. So it was appropriate for the time, and now it's a restructuring going on. I don't know all the exact details of what they're doing, but I'm happy to call Conrad a friend and happy to still kind of be associated. Podcast Heat is still it's under the Conrad umbrella, so we're still kind of there. But studio1sports.com. I'm really excited about this because, I want to build this channel up big time. I was actually on a program yesterday. Lavi Margolin and John Pazowski, they do a show. John does a show called Two Man Power Trip, but there's also another show, The Business to the Business. And I was their interview guest on there yesterday, and I talked about doing this Studio One Sports and trying to get it off the ground and trying to navigate the waters that is crazy of this content creation and trying to survive and keep your head above water when it comes to that, because the market's oversaturated. And what I went to school for journalism, it's kind of going a little bit to the wayside. my degree's kind of pointless in certain ways because anybody can create content, anybody can be a journalist to an extent. uh they certainly don't follow the rules, and some things you have to cross check on your own. It relies on you, the individual, to do your own research and to do your own make your own assessments. You can't just look at something and take it as gospel. And not that you always can with journalism, but I mean, there's certain, ethical rules that you follow and adhere to, or at least you're supposed to. And so yeah, it's a wild time. All right, off my soapbox here. Uh, Jennifer V says, great appearance yesterday. Check it out if you haven't seen it. Yeah, give it a look. I think if you type in PW Ponderings on YouTube, the interview will pop up. Yes, but you'll see my mustachioed face on there as well. So check it out. Oh, see, yeah, and I didn't even know there was a What Happened When Patreon. So like it's kind of changed it up a little bit. Everyone and their dog has a podcast. Well, here's a fun little anecdote. Marcus, my brother, started doing the podcast with Ted DiBiase, and they were trying to come up with names. And like what I thought was funny, I was like, you should call it, like, since he says everybody's got a price, you call it Everybody's Got a Pod. Because they were going to call it something else, the $1 Million Podcast. I don't know what it was, but I was like, you should call it Everybody's Got a Pod. So I'm taking credit for that name of the Ted DiBiase podcast. I suggested that because I thought it was funny. So you're saying I dodged a bullet not finishing my comm degree. I would say in a way you did, yes. And, everybody, like we're all indoctrinated. Hey, you got to go to college, get a degree, and find a life. make a living. Well, what was good for our parents and the older generation, it's not necessarily good for the millennials and above. Yes, I'm happy I did learn, got the foundation for what, ethics and journalism and all that kind of stuff goes on. And like, I'm still learning. Like I'm very, in a roundabout way, I'm a very late bloomer and naive to some aspects of journalism because I didn't really apply myself while I was there at Clarion. I was more focused on theater. So that's my other issue. Anywho, yes, in a way, you did kind of dodge a bullet because I think there's more value. Well, people want a degree, and college is good for some aspects, depending on what you do. But like, I kind of wish, if I really thought about it, that I went to a trade school instead. Like, hindsight's 2020. Like everybody thought, like, oh, you could get a degree and you get a job. Not as easy in today's world as it was, a generation before us. It's just them's the facts, and it's unfortunate. We all got kind of screwed. So like, while the initial thought is yes, go to college, get a degree, and still there's some aspect where you should go to college and get a degree depending on what you want to do. But nowadays, I would give it some pause and I would think about, really, what do you want to do and where do you want to go? You might not necessarily need a degree for it. And doing what I'm doing now, definitely didn't need a degree for it. Definitely didn't need a degree for it. So lots of things to think about. But wow, how about that? Cammy, me and you are like two peas in a pod in certain ways. So you changed your comm to art and a minor to theater. That's so funny because yes, I was a comm major, but my minor was theater. So that's really, really fascinating. So you did dodge a bullet. Has the art degree helped? Let's just ask that though too. Like, I think art's awesome. But I also then think like I'm an artist in other ways, not artistic. I can draw and stuff like that, but I'm always just anything with music and theater. I'm just like, does it really pay off? And yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But I hope it has for you. You're able to do something that you're doing, Cammy, in that realm of art still. Devin says, my dad wanted me to join the military like he did, went to college. He still calls me a pussy. There's nothing wrong with doing what you did. there's always that's a whole nother debate is doing that, going in that profession and doing that. So there you go. You're still doing something a little artistic. In the family business, we own a flower shop. So yeah, I'm sure you can apply your artistic skills in that regard. That's still cool. I love flowers. I'm a florist at Whole Foods. Boom, I can wrap a bouquet like nobody else. I'll do it. I'll do it. I love wrapping flowers. I really do. It's very therapeutic, and I enjoy it a lot. All right, what are we talking about? We're talking about AEW Dynamite. We're 11 minutes in here. Dynamite was really frustrating for me. It was really, really frustrating. I made me really think about AEW and what they're doing, and I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if they know what they're doing. Uh, I am happy that Brody is in the world title picture. It's great because something that we've been kind of hammering AEW for is, hey, let's build some new stars here. Let's get Powerhouse Hobbs cooking. Let's get a Ricky Starks going. Let's get geez, you name it. Orange Cassidy, Eddie Kingston. Let's get create some stars. And they've done that with Hangman. They've done it with MJF. Swerve, obviously, is another one. But like, you know, the focus has not really been, it's been all over the place. And this show itself felt all over the place. So this was a really kind of disheartening episode. I mentioned how this week that, while it's WrestleMania season, AEW can still really try to make a statement and pack a punch here. And they're not really doing it. Like, they're not dotting their I's and crossing their T's. The little details became a glaring issue on this episode. And so this was a head scratcher for me, big time. I just don't. So what did I like about it? Let me try to speak of what I did like about the show. In a way, I kind of liked the finish. Robert, we did text about the show. I said I kind of hated the show, and he was like, everything felt predictable until the ending, which was baffling. And I didn't necessarily kind of mind the ending, but in the same time, too, who does it serve? Who does it help? Does this help Brody by having him just immediately squash MJF for a match that they're going to have at Grand Slam? And what are they going to do with it? Are you going to put the title on Brody right now and have him beat MJF a second time? How's this help MJF? If MJF wins, then okay, he escaped the clutches of Brody, and maybe that makes a little bit of sense. But if you're having Brody squash him really quick because of the help from Hangman, what value are you getting out of Brody doing that? Is he still going to look credible? Yeah, I think so. I think you can have MJF escape the clutches of Brody at Grand Slam, like by the skin of his teeth, and Brody still feels valuable, and maybe that's probably what they'll do. Hopefully, that's what they do. But like, I don't get keeping Hangman in the title picture at this moment in time. I really don't. We've seen him there. We just saw him there. We don't need to see him right there again. We really don't. Like, he needs to take a breather. He needs to change a little bit of his dynamic. And we've talked about that. He does not feel like the Hangman of old. That was kind of fun, kind of unpredictable. Hangman is one of the. This is not a slight at him whatsoever, but Hangman is one of the most predictable aspects of AEW going on right now. And I think it would do a lot of value to shift him from a storyline perspective, from a character perspective, persona perspective. Get him back to that Hangman that was a lot of fun to root for and cheer for. Now, Hangman got a little bit of flack for getting a picture with Marty Scurll and having that posted online. And then John Alba asked him about it for, in an interview. And Hangman kind of, I don't exactly know what he said. Maybe I should pull this up before I start saying anything. Hangman, Adam Page, Marty Scurll. Take a look here. Addresses the Marty Scroll photo. I don't want it to seem like some kind of endorsement. Um, so let's see here. So he was interviewed by the Takedown on SI. Hangman gave his thoughts on Scroll, saying that when the allegation came out, he was shocked. However, he kept in touch with him. I think when that happened, I was obviously surprised, shocked. It didn't seem like the person that I knew, but I mean, I knew now that it was, and I guess I was kind of like faced it with a choice, like what to do with that information. And I reached out to him then because he had faced a lot of consequences from the public. He lost his job from Ring of Honor. He was facing consequences from people online. So I checked to see how he's doing. And I remained in touch with him for, what since then has been 6 years. Despite remaining in contact, Pages made it clear he would make no excuses for Scroll and his actions. I guess I kind of will make a couple of things clear about it. I completely recognize what he did. His actions are abhorrent, disgraceful. They are. There's no excuse. I completely recognize that. Always thought that will always think that about his actions. And I guess as consequences of his actions, the public has felt strongly about what he did. And for 6 years, I think because of those reactions, he's been unable to be a part of mainstream professional wrestling because of, the public perception. Um, he says, I don't want that photo to seem like some kind of endorsement or have any interest whatsoever in whitewashing what he did or any interest or intention of rehabilitating his public image. None of that is something that I've ever been interested in doing. Not now, not ever. And I think that the consequences of his actions that he's had mostly from public, aside from like harassment, I think are warranted. So I kind of want to make that clear. Um, Man, interesting. He says, uh, turning to his fans, Adam Page says he can understand and accept if people have lost respect for him over the issue. If you hear all that and you listen to all that and you feel like maybe you wouldn't have done the same thing you've been in my shoes, or maybe you still felt comfortable being a fan of mine, or even if you've lost like the smallest amount of respect for me because of any of that, I would just say I completely understand that and I can respect it and accept it. Sounds like a pretty adult answer to that all. Like, so Marty Scroll did what he did, and it had consequences. And those consequences have reverberated. We have not seen Marty Scroll. He was one of those big parts of the elite, and a lot of expectations was he was going to be a big, big star, specifically in AEW. And that didn't happen because of what he did. Now, I do want to get the full context of what he did. I wonder if they had this in the article here that I'm reading. Let's see here. Okay, so that year, allegations surfaced of sexual misconduct with a 16-year-old girl 5 years earlier. Scroll didn't deny the accusations, instead claiming he believed that the encounter was legal. ROH investigated the incident and ended Scroll's contract soon after. In that time since, Scroll's career has floundered, but he has continued to wrestle on the independent scene. So yes, the actions have consequences. You know, it's you. So Scroll did what he did, has consequences. People made their decision about him. The public eye made their decision about him. So did Hangman Page. So Hangman Page, while certainly making his statement clear about like he did what he did, and it doesn't mean I endorse it, but at the same time too, in a way, it shows how thoughtful of a person Hangman is, if that makes sense. Like I would not want to associate with Scroll. Uh, I wouldn't want to yeah, that's like, ugh, what, what? But Hangman made that choice, and he made it clear to everybody, you can feel how you want about me too. At the same time, so I think it's very noble in a way for Hangman to just say what he says and do it, because Marty Scroll did is gross. I don't like it. I don't think a lot of people do, right? Hopefully. But yeah, interesting. Okay. So let's take a look at some of your comments here. Devin Dowling says, Devil's advocate to you, Dom. Kenny versus Andrade was great with another unexpected ending. Ricochet versus Jungle Jack was really good too. The outcome was obvious, but Hangman versus Davis was good too. I'm trying to assess those matches because I haven't really necessarily gotten to those here. Yeah, I like Andrade kind of winning. It's unexpected, so they are kind of like, hey, we're putting the spotlight on a guy that hasn't necessarily got the spotlight. So you do get that. I think that's fair. I think Andrade and Brody King are in that spotlight, right? And so I think that's good. What I do take exception with is like you have this match with Ricochet and Jungle Jack, but where's the promo? Where's the build for this all? It's just there. The match shows up. It's like the second to the main event. It's just squeezed in. You don't have Ricochet cutting a promo. You don't have Jungle Jack staking his claim. Give me the character, the personality, and the aspect of that all happening. So yeah, I think that was what was missing for me, and it made everything feel directionless. You had the Young Bucks show up and interfere. No promotion of them all, no advertisement of them all. They're supposed to be one of your biggest stars in the whole dang company, and they just show up in an interference thing in a match that's not that much highly hyped. And so that felt directionless. The opening match, while good in ways, ran a little long between the Death Riders and the Don Callis family, two heel factions. Who am I supposed to cheer for in that? I'm still confused by all this. I'm like, it's such a head scratcher of where they're going with any of this stuff. And I'm like, what the F? Like, make this clear, paint this clear picture for us, and help me out of who to root for, here to cheer for. Look, I'm maybe you're trying to not insult your audience's intelligence by like, okay, we don't think you're stupid, so you make your pick. There's gray area. Look, I'm watching wrestling because I'm watching good versus evil. I want a simple storytelling element. I want somebody to root for, somebody to cheer for. I think what Pac and Moxley and I guess Pac more specific what was like some babyface kind of stuff in the ring. It was like I was enjoying that aspect of it because he wrestles great. Pac's an awesome wrestler. Just cheer for the heel, Cammy says. Which one? Help me. I have no idea who's who. And so that felt directionless. What also felt directionless? You advertise, and I know maybe you're trying to make this effort of making Collision distinct. I can respect that to an extent. But seeing Eddie Kingston and all these other guys like on Collision, there's zero aside from that little graphic that I have like this rumor and innuendo here in the corner. There's no evidence of Eddie Kingston existing. There's no evidence of any stars. You have to tune into Collision to watch it. Makes sense. You're trying to get your other show hot and like people tuning in. How are you going to attract that audience that's not familiar with an Eddie Kingston or any other of these personalities, like a Big Bill and one of my favorites, Brian Keith? How are you not going to get if you don't introduce them on your main show? You don't give them an opportunity to advertise. And you do it with Tommaso Ciampa. Nice, good. Extremely frustrating because you have him do this little backstage segment. You don't have him go out to the ring and cut a promo. This is your new star that you just debuted last week in a big way. And the follow-up is he does a little backstage interview that's kind of like, oh, it's there? Okay. Hey, great. So I thought that was super, super frustrating. And it gets me fired up. Like there's so many elements here that just frustrate the heck out of me. Like the matches were good. Yes. Okay. I can sink my teeth into some of that, but you're not really making me sink my teeth into the whole thing. Like make me want to come back to the restaurant. Don't have like, okay, the meal was great, but the whole presentation of it all, like the wait staff and the whole vibe of the restaurant, like with the fluorescent lighting, that all kind of sucked, but the food was good. That's basically what AEW is doing right now. The food's good, what you go there for, but everything else is just like, where are you? Like there's no it drives me nuts. I love AEW. I love the aspect of them like doing what they are, but oh my god, it's just like it's like I said yesterday, it's like that kid you raise and then like he makes some mistakes and sure, okay, you're young, you're gonna learn, you'll learn from You learn from these mistakes, and you try to coach him and tell him, look, take this road and do this a little bit better. But I'm understanding of it all. Well, that point is past. Okay, it's like they're at this point. AEW has graduated college, and they're still doing the same mistakes. That's what's going on. I don't know. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. So let's see what people say. Devin adds, yeah, I don't know. Yuta and Shafir are clearly heels in the feud versus Orange and Tony. Mox is a babyface. I don't know. Exactly. It's Cammy Stars referencing Laurel and Hardy, who's on first. Okay, my brain has gone weird. Ciampa was the new show-off toy, and now he's got placed on the shelf as favorite toys came back out. It's so ridiculous. Maybe Tony's intention, Tony Khan, not Tony Storm, Tony's intention is to get eyes on Collision. Well, you can do that, but I would not constantly put Ciampa on Collision. Like, you should have really had him come out here and cut a promo and stake his claim and then advertise a match on Collision if that's what you want to do. But come on, he's your new big star that you just acquired. And you're just have him do a little backstage segment. That's forgettable. That's not going to resonate with anybody. It's not. And there he is. He's stuck on Collision. That's what it feels like. So frustrating. Don't care. Devin says, you're like my ex-military dad mad at me when I was a stoner college kid. That's a fair comparison. It's a fair comparison. And not that I'm always right. I'm not right. Like, there's plenty of times I was underwhelmed by the Roman Reigns win. I thought this was like, okay, same old. Here we go. Well, they bought me back in. I got roped right in with that CM Punk and Roman Reigns exchange on Raw. I'm all for it. I think that should be the main event of WrestleMania, and I think I'm excited for it. So it's like, I'm not always right. I'm not. But from what I see, I find extremely frustrating about this freaking product. I could. You want to help them. You see this. You saw this kid come out of the womb, and you had there's so many possibilities for this youngster to flourish and reach the peak of his or hers potential. There's so much talent there. It's right there. Focus, put it down a lane and do it the right way. And then this kid just tarnishes relationships and doesn't go to class, is late on class, doesn't do his homework, and then wants to quit baseball when he's really good at it, and whatever. Just and you don't learn. Cammy Star says, let's forget Dynamite and move to Impact. I don't even know what's on Impact tonight. I was so frustrated by Dynamite. I didn't even look at what Impact is hosting. What's going on? I got to watch TNA more. This is like, oh man, I don't know. It's like, there's some stuff AEW does right, but the majority of this was it was 15% good, 85% anger inducing for me. It really was. Like, what the F are you guys doing here? You have so many stars and like so much stuff. Like, I love Ricochet. Let's talk about that Ricochet. That's what we'll talk about here. If you guys didn't see, I can't really put this up because what Ricochet said was, holy smokes, it was scorched earth stuff with former WWE referee Jimmy Corderas. Jimmy Corderas was kind of critical of Ricochet and Ricochet being very outspoken on social media. And then him saying like, oh, Jimmy Corderas saying, oh, he's being very ungrateful. Like, he resigned a contract in 2022. So he's like kind of implying that Ricochet's a hypocrite and stuff like that. Well, Ricochet just fired right back at him and called him what Devin Dowling said, like a cuck something, and then called his mouth something else, fit for a Blue Chew segue. And very funny. Like, I even texted it to brother Marcus, and I was like, look, Ricochet gives 0 Fs. I was like, he's so funny. It is. It's funny stuff. Like, and like anytime I read a Ricochet tweet too, I'm just like, I put ha, ha, at the end of it, and it makes it even funnier. I really like Ricochet. I think he's one of the best heels going right now. And that's why when you have him on television here and you just have him in a match, have him cut a promo before that match. And then have Jack Perry cut a promo before that match to get both sides of the fence here. So, but look, is it the right thing for Ricochet to do? I don't know. I think Ricochet probably feels financially comfortable where he's at, that he feels that he's okay to say what he wants about his former company. And he's very outspoken about it. Jimmy Corderas had his own views about it all, but so does everybody else on X, right? So Ricochet decided to go double barrel on Jimmy Corderas and say what he said. Look, I think it's entertaining. Certainly. And people always make their own assessments about it, you know? So do I side with either one? I'm just entertained by Ricochet, and I like Ricochet a lot. And I think he's one of the big names that AEW has, and they should really harness him in more of a manner that is shows who he is as a character and personality on their television show, which I don't think they necessarily did last night. There's something else that really stood out to me too. Oh, this is a big topic I want to cover on Dynamite. Okay, so we had the Death Riders. We don't know what the hell they're doing, who the hell they are, and what their purpose is. Show basically starts off in a way. I liked how they kind of did what they did, where they had everybody cut little promos at the beginning. Kind of felt like when you're building up to the Royal Rumble and back in the heyday, and everybody's like, standing there saying why they're going to win the Royal Rumble and all that kind of stuff. Well, that's kind of what they did on this episode of Dynamite. Was they had several people involved in matches cut promos. I liked it. But then they also had Darby Allin feuding with the War Dogs. Okay, I noticed that was Gabe Kidd. Took me a second. Then I was like, who's the other guy? And then I was like, I think that's that Connors guy. Connors something. And it was Clark Connors. I was like, yes, that's it. It's Clark Connors. Did not know they were in a team. Did not know they were called the War Dogs. Does anybody else know this? Please tell me, correct me. Because I'll admit, when I watch Dynamite, I'll either have it online here or I'll watch it on HBO Max, and then I'll try to skip through breaks or try to condense it a little bit. You know what I mean? So there is that aspect where I'll miss some of the program. So if anybody was familiar with the War Dogs and were firmly established who they are, please tell me in the chat, because I was not aware. But they kidnap Darby, throw him in a trunk, and drive off. All right, Darby's we've seen this before, right? In some form or fashion, whether that's Darby kidnapping Gabe Kidd or whatever. Not necessarily believable, because guess what? That's a crime, everyone. That's a crime. So they drive off, and then later on, we see that they take him to the desert, and they're dragging him in a body bag. And so Darby's got his mouth duct taped and all that stuff, and they cut a little bit of a promo before they literally cut the rope that he was tied to by the back of the car and leave him there to die. Because what else was that going to happen? His mouth's duct taped, he's all taped up and everything, and he's in the Vegas heat. They left him to die. They basically tried to murder him, right? Look, okay, we've seen that before. Wouldn't necessarily do that because it does take away the believability of it all. You can have them do something else. But it also made me consider this. So the War Dogs have done way more crazier things than the Death Riders have ever done. Right? I mean, they put the plastic bag over Bryan Danielson's head. Pretty heinous and pretty unbelievable. But you think about, that's kind of what we wanted from the Death Riders to do to a lot of people. Not to that level, but that's what they should have been doing when they were doing more antics akin to the Riot Squad in WWE. So I don't know. Bear with me a second while I plug my computer in because it's about to die. Hold on a second. I'm still here. Yes. So I found out an interesting, frustrating, and aspect that I could be critical of, and also be like, why didn't you do this with the faction you were supposed to make really, really dangerous and unpredictable? And you're doing it with Gabe Kidd and Clark Connors here, which I don't mind their look and everything. I think that they got some potential for sure. Hey, Razor's eating cat food. You want to hear him eat? I don't know if the mic's picking it up. That's Razor eating. If you didn't hear it. Okay, hold on a second. I'm putting my mic down because I got to plug in the laptop. 1 second. 1 second. I'm here. Okay, I'm back. This show just frustrates me. It does. Okay, let's get some feedback here. Devin Dowling says, felt like an old Rampage intro, which I'm okay with. I thought that was cool about Rampage. All you need was Mark Henry saying it's main event time. It's time for the main event. I think that's what he said. Devin says, Darby faced Connors on Collision. Okay, so it didn't happen. And Kidd came out and stole Darby. So yeah, I knew about this tag team. Okay, put it on a Collision. Don't show me anything else. God, oh man. Why does this wrestling product make me that frustrated that I'm like, I don't get it. The camera crew gave him a ride back. Okay, I guess I can buy into that. Because you're right, the camera is there, isn't it? That's what happened. I don't know. Look, my New York Jets suck. Okay, they're awful. They're a bad football team. I have to deal with that, like, as my escape out of life, is how awful the New York Jets are. Okay, and they've been awful for the past several years, but this has been the worst season that they've had in a long time, like really bad. And that's saying something because they're the worst franchise in the NFL, like by my account. But then I have to watch AEW, which I had so much hope for, like I do every season with the New York Jets. I had so much hope for and optimism for, and they still do a little bit of stuff. They still get you hope. It still makes you excited to be a wrestling fan and tune in and everything. And then they just completely flounder a whole lot of stuff that gives you expectations. And now I got to air my grievances to a live chat that I really appreciate and super respect and admire. And you got to deal with my laments on here. And I don't mean to disenchant anybody from, what they like about it. If you like the AEW, good. But there's just elements that really freaking frustrate me. Okay, let's see. Oh, Cammy's helping me out with Impact. Only matches announced tonight: Elijah and Jada Stone versus Mustafa Ali and Tasha Steele. Okay, should be good. Angel Warriors and Indy Hartwell versus the Elegance brand. Tesha Blanchard, great. Righteous with promos with Trey Miguel. Okay. What about the Browns? The Browns are pretty bad. Yeah, I guess I will take that back because the Browns are I don't know how excited I'd be as a fan if I was a Browns fan right now because they don't have any quarterbacks. They got Shador, but that's more hype and talk than it is actually like results on the football field. And then they hired a coach that is up in the air. They don't really have anything going right now. They really don't. And their owner sucks. Our owner sucks too, is Woody Johnson of the Jets. But, Jimmy Haslam's not a very good owner either. So, I guess Browns would probably be. It's a good point, Kimmy. Trey Miguel is 1 month sober of weed for the first time in, I think he said 10 years. Good for him. I like Trey Miguel. Now, I don't know, I've seen, what he put online, years back. Yeah, not good, but, I've interviewed him before. He's a very nice person. But, at the same time, too, what? And it's not an excuse. He's, probably what was he back then? 24? I don't know, but it's just like just do stupid, irrational stuff. And so good for him. I hope he gets on the right track and gets to where he wants to be here. Tony Gong says, I know Dom's frustrated, but because he said heck. That's right. I am. I am very frustrated. Let's take a look back to. Oh, look at this. How about this? Dre Owen says our group should do a podcast. Cammy's game for it. Dre says we can be the Podsiders. So there you go. There's something going on there, right? Cammy talked about the flower shop. She says, I tell you, Dom, it would be fun to get a coffee. Hey, coffee's always great. I love coffee. I just had coffee. I have coffee over there. I still need a drink. I'd be down. Okay. I read that one too. So yes, just a overall, this felt therapeutic in certain ways, but also very frustrating. So I'm happy I got to air my grievances with all of you today. So very nice. Can't be. Let's check the dirt sheets real quick before we close out, huh? Maybe we can cleanse the palate a little bit. Let's see. Here, we'll take another look here. I guess Daria Ray, former Sonya Deville, addresses no surrender. All eyes be on what SUIT has to announce. So now no surrender card remains empty. So we got Mike Santana. Yeah, Trey Miguel's in action after his feaster fired. Yes. Who is part of? So the TNA Knockouts World Champion is Ling Ying Lee, teams with Zara Brookside and Indy Hartwell. It's Face Elegance brand. That's Ash by Elegance, so good for her being back. Heather by Elegance and M by Elegance. Ash has been medically cleared for this bout, adding another layer of danger for the babyface trio. Tessa Blanchard's in action. And the Righteous are in action as well. All right, so cool. Interesting. SC Scoops also lays out some questions too, which is nice. What matches will Daria Ray announce for No Surrender? Will Trey Miguel make his move toward cashing in his Feast for Fire International Championship opportunity? Can Elijah and Jada Storm overcome numbers, advantage of Order 4? And how will Elegance Brand's NXT title retention factor into their clash with the Knockouts Championship team? And then they ask about Nick Nemeth. Is Nick Nemeth any closer to calling his shot against Mike Santana for the TNA Championship? So the table's set a little bit for Impact. Cammy says, can only hang on to the Stoner gimmick for so long. Trey, she's referring to. Wait, what about RVD? Yeah, RVD's, well, he's like grandfathered in, right? He's the OG of it. So at least in the public eye, I mean, geez, so many wrestlers on the road back in the 70s and stuff. And you got to think a lot of token going down. All right, this is fun. Studio One Sports, very happy that it's on here. So if you're tuning in on whatever platform you are, go to studio1sports.com. Here, let me do the little banner thing. Kind of like get that over a little bit. See if I can find. See here. Boom. I don't even know what this is. Okay, Studio One Sports. Notice that this is a completely different. When I'm just by myself, it's like all bets are off. Robert would be probably going nuts by how I handle a solo show by myself. But here we go. Boom. Studio1sports.com. Go there, hit subscribe, hit like, join that channel. We're going to be here every Monday through Friday on a plethora of channels, including Studio1sports.com, including Podcast Heat Wrestling, and Rumor and Innuendo YouTube. Oh, you didn't know YouTube? And you can catch it on WCreative_ish. That's Robert's X account. On my X account at Dominic D'Angelo, on Podcast Heat X account, and at SE Scoops as well. So this has been fun, therapeutic, fun, frustrating. I hope my temper settles down a little bit. I fired myself up, and I hope you all have a great time. And enjoy the rest of your Thursday. If you're in the Northeast, stay warm. It is very cold right now. And if you're somewhere warm, enjoy the warmth. I'm jealous. All right. That'll do it for me. Best of luck in your future endeavors. And hey, Let's go Jets. Huh? Jets. Jets, Jets, Jets.